The Adventures in Consciousness is a 10-chapter series.
The word that you've used just at the last, and you said, how do we improve the systems? Would you agree that we're all involved in systems?
Yeah.
Personal?
Yeah,
Collective?
absolutely.
Planetary? Universal? So let's honor the systems. And let's focus for a moment about your intention. Am I in touch with the values? Am I in touch with my perspectives? Do I look at the world as one total interactive system? Do I honor in my time is the creator of that in my own version? So my name is Jack Heynen, and I'm the creator of the 10-chapter course called Adventures in Consciousness.
Hi, my name is Allie Crawford. I am here to support Jack Heynen on the Adventures in Consciousness series. As we move into chapter 8 today with the transformation of systems, can you talk about how you would define a system?
I think it's really on a very simple way. If you want to create a good meal, you should have a system how to mix in the proper ingredients, right? And so living on my own, managing food and exercise, and then taking time to reflect. So I need to balance, as we often say in the medicine wheel, just balance the physical with the social emotional, with the intellectual and the spiritual. So that is a system. It's a way and how things work together.
Can you tell us a little bit about what a healthy system looks like, maybe when we're looking at families or organizations?
Well, I think a good balance would be for everybody in a system, be it a family, be it a company you work for, is that you need to continue to develop your own sense of self-regard and self-esteem. And I think the more that you do, the better contribution one will make in the family, in the church, in the synagogue, whatever, because you are seeing yourself as a worthy, valuable person in the whole cosmos. So that's number one. Then the way you work together is your participation in the group. Are you positive or negative? Are you uplifting or downcasting? So that is then you move into part of a system is, do you have a forward looking? Are you criticizing? I did workshops for companies, the oil patch, they said, I love what you teach, Jack, and I can't wait to beat the competition. And I thought, what are you saying, beat the competition? Is that what I'm teaching you? No, I want you to work with the competitions. They're all feeding you, they're supplying you. So if you work together as a system, a collective system, all of you will gain.
So what are the core primary intentions or focus that you're leading within a system?
And let's focus for a moment about your intention. So attention for me, as I look at my own life, is am I in touch with the values? Am I in touch with my perspectives? Do I look at the world as one total interactive system? Do I honor in my time is the creator of that in my own version? And that's why I love talking to people of other members of different religions to say, what is your sense of the sacred? And if we can uphold that, then we can respect each other's diversity. That is getting the energy together. So that becomes part of the system, leadership, family, community. And so terribly exciting for me because there's no end to learning.
Yeah, and when you think about the transformation of systems, what's a transformation you can envision? Moving from what into what?
Well, it's a very good idea. You see, we've already got wonderful words here when we say, what is the difference between if you're a leader and you want control? Well, control, we know whenever we're being controlled. Not a good idea. But if you have the value of cooperation, that's different. And now that leader in meetings is very aware of, somebody's kind of quiet here. Excuse me, folks, but I want to listen to Sally or Roger. What do you have to say? You haven't said anything yet. And Sally says, guess what? The leader asked me a question, and what I said, that it was honored. Now that's leadership. So you, as a leader, you need to have your ducks in place. You got to be based on deep values, respect, cooperation, collaboration, and we've got that right here.
Right.
That's part of the system that I want to bring out there.
And what impact do you think is going to happen when people feel like they are a part or participating in a healthy system rather than maybe a controlling system?
They want to give, and it's from feeling reticent, they want to give. And I remember when I was a youngster coming from Holland to Canada, and I was in grade 7. And then when the teacher would ask things, I knew the answer, but I was too shy, and I didn't know enough English to raise my hand. But somebody else raised a hand, and they had the same answer as I did. So I had to learn, how do you learn to stand up for yourself? Don't put yourself down. And leadership says, because there are some people, they like to talk more frequently. That's their behavioral style. Others are quiet. I remember I was doing a workshop on behavioral styles, and there was a lot of leaders with their teams. And then I realized when I was saying, now you need to understand that your team have different behavioral styles, so you as a leader have to bring it out. And this man was sitting in front of his team with his team behind me, listening to what I was doing. When I was saying, you want to watch what's going on in your team. So I called him on that. I said, are you aware that one member sitting behind you had raised her hand and you paid no attention to that? The whole point is that we want to respect. And he was angry with me that I would challenge him, a leader, right? And then he turns around at the end, he says, Jack, that confrontation you did was the best thing that happened to me.
Interesting.
And now I turn my whole circle to my team, because the talkers will have their hands up and the quiet people will not say anything, but they have events. So when you're a leader, pay attention to communication styles, behavioral differences.
Yeah, that's so interesting, thinking about the energy, encouragement, behaviors of a leader and of the people who are participating in it, and being aware as a leader. And when we think about the impacts that these shifts make on both the system itself and the individuals, the impact it can have on people, but also on the planet. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that means for the planet?
Yes, I mean, more and more we are learning, and we call the planet really our feminine. It's a Mother Earth. And Mother Earth, of course, like any wonderful mother, wants to get the children together, and they want to be fed and keep them healthy, right? So I think I am learning that more and more we have a planet that is alive and well. We're in the spring now. It's beautiful to walk along the canal, see the buds and the tulips, you name. So it's a vast difference between the winter where everything is quiet. So be aware of the season in a person's life, because they are evolving. And all of a sudden you may have sent them to a course because they needed to have, and they're coming back as a different person. So your leader says, I now see, having invested in that person, they're now adding to the team. So leadership as a team, very important. And you as a leader, you need to grow. And I think what I received beautiful slides from a leader of a group that I belong to. And they talked a little bit about what is normal self-esteem. Well, normal self-esteem is up and down. If you congratulate it, up goes your esteem. And then if somebody says, well, you sure missed the ball there, down goes my self-esteem. So that esteem is very relational and circumstantial. And then that person said, well, what is divine self-esteem from a creator? That self-esteem is eternal, and it is always consistent. Now, that's why I stress so very much, believe in the sacred. Whatever your religion is, let's respect that. So if you feel already from the divine that you are loved, you are significant, then that's an attitude. That's a value. That's part of leadership.
I think leading in from all of the chapters that we've already had to now, if every individual, including the leaders and including the participants within a system, if every individual in a system is thinking about life as an adventure, and then they're thinking about, okay, what is consciousness? Can I be aware of consciousness in my life? Am I aware of myself? And then thinking about, okay, how do I apply this to my life? How can we apply this together? What are my belief systems? What are my attitudes? If every individual within that system has had the chance to sit with those ideas and develop for themselves, the power that comes into a system, and then a leader who is able to then address every individual and give every individual a chance and a voice, it can really evolve the health of systems and the health of our world.
Beautifully put. You could have taught the course.
Well, I've learned from...
There you go.
I've learned a thing or two along the way. Huh?
There you go, right? So, and I think we're laughing about that, but that is really the outcome, isn't it?
Right.
It is that shared learning.
Right.
Don't be afraid to share your faith and your perspectives and whatever in the team. If you're a good leader, you'll draw it out.
Right.
And people I get goosebumps talking about it, because that is the energy that somebody wants. That's when they say, if you want to get a good job, you should go to that company.
Right.
They have leadership that is fantastic. I want to contribute to that. And so when it becomes integrative and we say, that's not only in the fact is we're doing well with our products and income, but we care to put it into the planet.
Right.
We restore the planet. So what a wonderful way of having leadership, that you go home and say, now, wasn't that a wonderful day together? Instead of, I gotta push my stuff more so. That's control leadership. We don't want that. Right? And so I think it's the enthusiasm, and the word that I learned, the enthusiasm, comes from entheos. Theos, in God, in Creator. So when you're enthusiastic, people say, how was your day? Oh, it was wonderful. Or if it was a lousy company, saying, I'm so glad the day is over, right? I'm thinking about going to another country. That's a pretty poor system.
Right.
And we want good systems. But I think they need to be all-inclusive. It's in the planet. So my hope and challenge is to the energy company to say, while you are still in the business of the pipelines on this, but have a very special team whose task is to make the transfer to something else, and make that team say, we need to change. So I accept the fact that a gas or oil company or coal company may still have to work for a while, but that together they are saying there comes an end when we have to change it to the sun energy and to other energies. So get a team that is supported and encouraged to come with new ways so the company keep going. So I'm not a fatalist. Systems are there. The other thing that comes to mind is, think of what's happening on our planet. We have enough food for everybody, but we're not doing it.
Yeah.
And so if you actually said, whatever we create, a portion of our profit will go to areas where they need food, they need shelter, right? You will be blessed based on your values and your perceptions. Exciting.
When our consciousness within a system, within an organization, is shifting our focus away, primary focus. If we can shift our primary focus from solely profit, control, better than everybody else, and more on people, on planet, on intention of individuals, people would be surprised how quickly and how intentionally things can shift. We spoke a little bit about pipeline leadership. Do you want to explain that concept and why you might see that really supporting healthy systems?
In my whole development as in private practice, and I was mostly then involved with 20 years working with First Nations. I loved it, learned a lot of wisdom. Pipeline companies, oil companies. I think the whole thing that I came aware of is that if you use pipeline leadership, and the essence of pipeline leadership is you're in a pipeline, all of you, as a metaphor, but if training comes from the bottom up and all the way through. So rather than saying, oh, our company needs an COO, and now we're going to grab the smartest CEO in an automotive field, but oh, he was really great or she was really great. No idea of the culture of this organization. So pipeline leader basically says, if a person is a truck driver, he looks really promising. And she is driving that truck, and now all of a sudden we're going to lift that person up to become a supervisor of other trucks and bring her and he in a training session. So now they've been a truck driver and they've got 3 or 4 under, and people saying, we love being under this person. Good. Oh, now the one above is leaving, so we're going to promote that one with some extra courses into now over a department. So now, my God, right? So in pipeline is from the bottom up with constant training so that they can go through the system, and eventually that person that started 20 years ago becomes the new president. That's pipeline leadership. I loved it.
If somebody has drive and it's not being utilized or acknowledged, then it's hard for people to go into their day in and day out with no real feeling of evolution, potential for evolution. And they're kind of keeping their eye open for new options. But if individuals within the company are seeing that there actually is options to move and evolve and learn and have higher paying jobs and more responsibility and be acknowledged for the good work that they're doing, it creates a really different energy on a day-to-day basis for individuals within organizations.
Beautifully expressed, and I can see too that attention that is placed on all the employees with proper supervision all the way up. What an unfolding of that individual becomes in part of a larger team. And now more parts of that individual are used to do planning, not just truck driving anymore, that other people do. Or, oh, you really have a financial bend. We need to get you direction into managing from a financial point of view. Well, imagine being part of 25, 30 years of that company and retiring, and you were asking, well, what was it like to be that? Oh my God, what a company, right? Instead of, no, I went through 5 different companies and I was okay there and then I was, no. Life is to be consistent. It is based on the ingredients that we put in the context of always a greater power than myself.
When we think about a healthy system in itself, thinking about ego to spirit, fear to growth, control to collaboration, extraction into contribution. It's nice to be able to think about ways to actually put it into action and the shift that happens in the transformation of these systems.
And what I heard, you put all of that in the context of developing values.
Right.
And to me, leadership is based on values applied. You don't have to change your nature of your company if you gas or oil, whatever, but just get with the program and realize what more you could offer. Medicine Wheel. 20 years with First Nation people. And because the workshop I did, Adventures in Attitudes, was well received, but also I got more contact with the elders of the reserve. Let us tell you a little bit about the medicine wheel. We see the 4 directions of life, and that's both on the planet, but also in turn. So what are they? The first is that individual around the wheel. Do you take care of you, yourself, individually? Good idea. I'm still working on that one. Then you go to the social, emotional. What is your relationship with the rest of members of the clan? And you have to remember, it's very important that we are always moving around. We are reliant upon the planet, so we need to really work like a team, socially, welcome and beautiful. And they said, well, intellectual, that's, are we having the powwow with the drums, and are we having good sessions in the sweat lodges? I remember one time, 10 o'clock, I was working on a reservation, and they said, Jack, would you like to go into a sweat lodge? 10 o'clock at night, and that's like 4 hours in a sweat lodge. And I remember phoning Vanya, said, I'm not coming home. I'm just going to enter. She says, you just have a good time. And that's when you are into a whole different milieu. So then the spiritual, always the respect for the sacred. I learned so much from them. So the medicine wheel, I practice it every day.
How could people use those lessons within their systems?
The medicine wheel to me is very connected to the earth, the planet Earth, Mother Earth. So are we treating her with physical well-being? For example, a very good friend and couple from Australia, they held up a spoonful of dirt, and they did courses in how do you change the quality of dirt. It says every little amount of dirt in this spoon is zillions of little items.
Wow.
And that is good dirt. And then comes companies and they want to use pesticides and all kinds of stuff. They are going to help you grow. In the meantime, they're dying. And that planet doesn't have the zip anymore. When your company is saying, yeah, we did that, but I'm going to no longer do that. I am going to change our whole company towards soil enhancing. So that's on the physical side. So that's only one part of the 4. Now, why are you doing that? If you go to the spiritual, saying we're doing that because the Creator created the planet and the universe. So get a big picture.
Right.
Don't be hardening of the categories. Don't be fundamentalistic in your religion, because religion forces you to think a certain way. Spirituality opens it up.
And do you want to talk about how the transformation in your life when you went through different religious systems, thinking about how that's evolved for you?
Well, one thing that I remember, I was always a person, because of my family Christian background, asked the Lord, asked the great God. And once I realized I was floundering and took a year out, suddenly I got my feet in the ground and had that deeper respect of biblical things, everything else. I became very clear. Now I'm ready to start. And now I'm going to pursue the subject of my love. That was sociology, psychology. So prayer itself, trusting the Almighty, number one. And that got me a new direction. So very important. That's why I say unashamedly, I don't care how academic you are on consciousness, keep your feet on the ground, because you're only dealing with the theory. And the reality is, how is it impacting your life?
And how has the systems most recently evolved for you in your life?
Just even the series that we are doing together is a way of putting components together, the 10 components, and there may be 50 more, but we're dealing with 10 components. And we're saying, what is it? What is the energy? Is it available? Yes, use it, and then bless the others with it. Well, at 85, 86 years, not a bad project to be doing. The good Lord is still teaching this guy.
So how can we use these chapters?
Would you agree that we're all involved in systems?
Yeah.
Personal,
Yeah,
collective,
absolutely.
planetary, universal. So let's honor the systems, right? My own system. And every cell in my body is already capable of communicating with every other cell. That's astounding. Now, how I treat myself, and having type 2 leukemia, my thoughts and attitudes affect the way I feel. Terrific. Does that mean I should never have medication anymore? No, that doesn't mean it. I just work with the system. So I would say the 10 components I felt came together for me in a natural way. So those are the 10 vitamins in my life. I want to share that with other people.
What impact can conscious and healthy systems have on the people and planet in today's world?
I would say when we begin to take care of ourselves, you are a growing person. Then get connected with other people. Talk with other people. Bring them together. Different industries, whatever, right? But let it be based on wonderful values. Respect each other's belief systems. Because I go back to what I'm learning. This is a super coherent universe. And it's doing well. And it's expanding. And for me to learn that I'm part of the expanding of the universe, that's pretty nice. So no boring times in my life.
Of one of the applications you've seen of the co-op store in Alberta, about how beautiful of a system that is. Do you want to give a little bit of context about how they've applied healthy systems?
That's so glad you're asking me, Allie, because I have my lovely daughter, Sarah, visit with me, and annually she comes and together we choose the plants and then we plant them on the balcony and we have great conversations. So she is very astute as a CEO that if a company truly wants to be a blessing, it has to share its incomes. And this crazy diversity of a CEO makes 100 times more than the person on the bottom. And that is ridiculous. And that is selfish. And I think when a co-op system, we have a team that manages it, but the profit that we make, we also give back to the people. And I remember my neighbors and I back in Calgary saying, did you get a check from the co-op? Yeah, how much was your check, right? Oh, well, I got $300, right, for all the food that I bought. So the profit is distributed in the members. So what a blessing that is. I'm so glad that our daughter made attention to that. So Dad, don't be too praising people that are changing values, but they're still hanging on to the profit. See, because there is no need on the planet for people starving. So any great company should be sharing its profit to lift up others. We are divinely connected. And so let's keep growing.
Thank you for listening to Chapter 8 of the Adventures in Consciousness series on the transformation of systems. In hearing some of the points we've discussed today, we'd love you to be a part of the conversation. So if you can reflect on the systems that you may be a part of or leading, here are some questions that we want to leave you with. Are these systems helping people become healthier and higher versions of themselves? Does it support both humanity and the planet? How can you bring more consciousness and awareness as a leader and participant within these systems? So we'd love to hear from you. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, but share these thoughts. Share some of these reflections in the comments, and we'd love to engage with you.